Welcome to Westtown in Chicago, Illinois. It's the birthplace of Graymatter. Today, we're interviewing Graymatter's founder and CEO, Jim Phillips, about how a near-death experience set him on the path to a life with more purpose. So it's rolling. Give me one word to describe the last few years of your life.
Purpose. I think I have a life with a lot more purpose now. Think about what happened to me and why it happened to me, and I don't really have any answers other than that.
When you were 22, 25, what was driving you?
I've always just been very ambitious and very confident. And when I was younger, I didn't have a lot. I had everything I needed, but it wasn't a lot. And that always just made me want to go out and get more. I had to kind of figure out how to get the things I wanted as a young person. And that is just, I think, given me the ability to be a good entrepreneur. So I got a child entrepreneur in training, right? I just wanted to be successful, to be honest with you. I didn't grow up with much. Don't have any trust fund or anything like that. I had to earn everything and create everything on my own. And coming out of school, I didn't know anything really. And I had to just start doing stuff. And that's what happens with a lot of entrepreneurship. And luckily I was put in a position where I could learn from a lot of other people who were really good entrepreneurs. And that just started my journey as to building companies and wanting to help people.
Did you stumble across entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it was pure luck. I went to school for marketing. I graduated in 2006. That was right in the middle of some sort of downturn in the economy, and I couldn't get a job. And I finally took a job selling freight, like shipping. At the time, I thought, man, I spent my entire life, went through college, and now I'm a shipper.
Yeah. Right?
It just didn't feel right. But luckily, what I didn't really realize in the beginning is that I joined a company of some of the best entrepreneurs in Chicago. It was like their 7th company at the time, and they've gone on to start, billions of dollars worth of companies. And it was a startup, and so I got to understand and learn the startup culture and what it takes to build a company from the ground up. So in that sense, it didn't matter what the company was doing. It was just more of like the stage of it that I was lucky to be in. I didn't know anything about startups or building a company with getting a piece of equity and options and all that, and like increasing the enterprise value and having everyone participate in that, what that does for alignment to get everybody rowing in the right direction. So absolutely, it taught me most of what I know, at least like the basics, right?
What kind of college kid were you? In college, were you going out all the time? Were you studying?
Yeah. Well, I played basketball. I was a walk-on at DePaul. That was great for me. It's probably one of the only reasons I got a job, because they thought that I was competitive. I wasn't the best student. It's kind of just because I didn't really care too much. I think I was always smart. I could always do well if I applied myself.
When did you first start to experiment with supplementing your mind?
So I was a very young entrepreneur when I was first VC backed. That's venture capital giving me money to start a company. And I kind of just fell into that. It was a program we were running at my first job, and like the idea came out of that. And then the same people who started my first company invested in me and a few others to go take our idea and start a new company. The company was called Fuda. It's still around today and doing really, really well. But I was young and I had no idea what I was doing. And then all of a sudden there was all this pressure on me, and I had to get smarter. And I, like many people at the time, or in that situation, even today, thought that taking stimulants like an Adderall or drinking an excessive amount of caffeine was the answer to getting me ahead, like making me more productive. And it actually had the opposite effect. It gave me more anxiety and made me less productive. And it got to a point where there was all this pressure on me, and I had to figure out there's got to be a better way than this, right? So I started studying my mind and kind of why I was feeling that way. Read a bunch of neuroscience books, learned that if I meditate, that's actually a long-term fix for anxiety, and that can change the physiological makeup of my brain. So I started doing that. That was a huge impact on me. And then also started experimenting with nootropics. I read about them, started following people who talked about them, and things like L-tyrosine, alpha-GPC, phosphatidylserine, things that are in Graymatter today. And they had just a really, really positive effect on me. It enabled me to be more sharp, but stay calm and have longer periods of productivity. I thought I had like discovered this secret weapon, right? When I would talk about it to people, no one knew what I was talking about. And that just gave me this kind of confidence that like, oh, okay, there's this big opportunity here to help more people discover and benefit from plant-based cognitive supplementation. So I didn't do anything with it at the time, but if you fast forward in my career, my company previous to this was called charm.io. It's basically a database of every direct-to-consumer brand in the world. So like Shopify stores, WooCommerce stores. I was on the founding team there. I did all the go-to-market. And so I talked to all these different players in the e-commerce industry, brands themselves. And it gave me this crash course in e-commerce, which I didn't really know much about in 2020 when this started. And it made me want to start my own brand. I felt like I had all this data and could kind of pinpoint that there was an opportunity to still do this. And so I started working on it. Started kind of formulating what is now Graymatter with the different things that worked for me. Got connected with a PhD biologist who helped us kind of validate and confirm things, and eventually pulled the trigger on making it. For the first couple of years, it was just a side project. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening is we made such a good product that it just has grown like crazy and kind of forced me to do this full time, which I'm now grateful for.
Why do you think you were doing it when most people weren't? So say there was, the option to take a prescription stimulant to just go down that route. Why were you going the opposite way?
Yeah, well, first off, the stimulants didn't work for me, and I needed something better. And I've always been really cerebral and wanted to kind of get to the root of things, and I want to understand how the brain works in my mind. And that led me to the neuroscience behind how you can activate and neuromodulate your mind with certain substances that don't come with all the side effects that some of the more common remedies do. So I think I'm just always on the early adopter. I think people who are curious often will define things and find things sooner than others, and I'm happy that I'm curious. I'm grateful that I'm curious, because it makes me, it enables me to have a little more of a risky mindset of like trying things.
Mm-hmm. I know you mentioned that Graymatter was a side project.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit more about what you were building. What did that look like when Graymatter was still a side project?
With all the entrepreneurship I've done, it's often been in new industries. And I think if I have one good skill, and if you need a good skill as an entrepreneur, it's the ability to learn things and learn them quickly, even if you don't have a lot of experience. Because you're put in a position where you just got to figure stuff out. There's not anyone there to tell you about it. And because it's harder in that sense, you also then carry more of the ability to reap the rewards of being successful, right? Mm-hmm. So I just had to learn e-commerce. I didn't know anything about e-commerce at the time. The previous company basically got killed by COVID. That one was doing great. It was worth a ton of money to me on paper, and COVID basically killed it. And so I thought, man, I got to do something new. And during that time, e-commerce was basically the only commerce that was happening. And so I, luckily was able to get connected with a guy who was super smart from Google and doing this as a side project for him. And I helped him lead it and make it real.
Why keep going? Why keep going down this road of entrepreneurship? Things aren't necessarily going the way you want it to go.
Once I tasted that and experienced that kind of feeling of having ownership in your day-to-day work, I'll never not have that again. You can go work for a big company and maybe make a little bit more in salary, but once you are a part of the ownership of the company, it just feels different. It feels more like craftsmanship versus like renting out your time.
What did it take to take that jump into going full-time into Graymatter?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was that I almost died. So in 2023, Charm was still going. We actually built and sold the company to a company in New York. They kept me on to run it for them. Things were great. I was making more money than ever. I still had upside, and there was a lot more opportunity. Graymatter was kind of starting to bubble up on the side. And then in August of 2023, I got this mystery illness. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with me for 72 days. And I was just slowly getting closer to literally dying. Super fatigued, always had a fever. Like every point of the day I had a fever, muscle aches, I got real skinny, incredibly bad night sweats where I'd wake up just super drenched. And I went to every doctor you can think of, every single doctor you can think of, a cancer doctor, infectious disease doctor, the ER multiple times. Not one person could figure out what was wrong with me. It was crazy. eventually I got a blind spot in my right eye. I couldn't see out of my right eye.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I had to go to a retina specialist. And the retina specialist took hundreds of pictures of my eye. And after, it seemed like a long time, came back and said, I think you have something called endocarditis. I was like, what's that? And he goes, it's an infection in your heart. And what's happening is it's shooting bacteria all over your body. And your retina is bleeding because there's bacteria on it. Crazy. But to be honest with you, he then explained the symptoms of it. And it was exactly what I was feeling. Fatigue, night sweats, losing weight. And I felt so relieved in that moment. I'm very glad he figured it out, because I was days away from dying. My heart was actually in failure and I didn't even know it. I went and got a echocardiogram. They confirmed that I had endocarditis, and then a day or so later I had to have emergency open heart surgery to save my life.
And this was while you were working for your other company.
Yeah, Graymatter is like nothing at this point. It's surreal. I still don't know how I got it, but I think I know why, and I think it was to lead me to this purpose of helping people with Graymatter. Ironically, when I was recovering and getting back to normal, we started getting just countless reviews of people telling us astonishing things about how Graymatter was impacting their life, saying things like, it's given me my life back, and it's improved my relationship with my girlfriend, like random stuff, but just really astonishing things about how it's changing people's lives. And it just started to make so much sense to me that this is what I should do with my second chance at life.
What was going through your mind during this time of crisis?
I mean, when I finally got into the hospital and they knew what was wrong with me, I was just hoping that all the tests that they were doing on me would tell me that I didn't have to have open heart surgery. They finally came back and were like, yeah, you do. I had to replace my aortic valve, so that there's bacteria on my aortic valve for so long, basically destroying it, that it wasn't functioning anymore. So that's why I was in heart failure, and they're like, we don't really understand how you're alive right now. We got to do this like now. First off, I was like, that's scary. I had to come to the realization and like grips with it. Oh man, I'm about to have open heart surgery. And they explained it to me, and they sawed my chest open. They prop it open with like this machine, and then they stop my heart, which is effectively like I'm dead, but they keep you alive through what's called a heart-lung machine, where there's like this machine pumping oxygen into your lungs that keeps your brain alive while they can work on your heart. It's just scary, right? But then I had to decide whether to get a mechanical valve or an artificial valve. Luckily knew of someone who's also had to do this at a young age, which is super rare, and eventually decided on a mechanical valve. So now I have a piece of metal beating in my heart right now that's keeping me alive. It was completely random. I'm sitting in the hospital bed after having the surgery, and I get this review, and it's about this person saying, your product's literally given me my life back. And, to say it exactly like that, well, I just got my life back and now I have this second chance, it just became so obvious that this is what I should do. And in February of 2024, I just decided, all right, I don't care about money, I'm just gonna go all in on this. And to be clear, like Graymatter, I wasn't in a position to support me. It had done 6,000 in revenue that month, which is nothing when you factor in costs and ad spend and all this. So we're basically losing money. And I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna spend my money to float myself to try to make this real. And so all of 2024, draining my bank account, trying to do anything I could to make Graymatter successful. And there were times when it was super hard and I didn't think it was gonna work, but we got to the end of the year and went through a rebrand. And by the time it got to Black Friday in November, we really started getting some momentum and raised a seed round from friends and family, and it's been off to the races since.
What was one of the hardest things that you had to overcome during that transition period of going full-time into Graymatter?
So our manufacturing partner went bankrupt. Obviously that was hard. I tried to go find a new manufacturer. So like right when we started to get things going, all of a sudden we didn't have inventory, right? One of the things you need to expect as an entrepreneur is that things are going to go wrong, and there's going to be a constant stream of problems, but those problems are opportunities for you to make the business better. And your approach to problems is one of the key things that is going to make you successful or not. You have to expect that they're going to come. You have to kind of welcome them as an opportunity to make your business better, and then know that there's an even bigger, harder problem on the horizon. It's never going to stop. But in the early days of going 0 to 1, you have problems with suppliers. You have to figure out your marketing. The formulation they gave us was wrong one time. I had to discover that was why we were starting to get some bad feedback all of a sudden. So it was just really working out all the kinks of making a real successful, solid product, tweaking the formula a bit, and really finding out who our customer was and how to speak to them. All the while, I'm just spending all my money. It was hard, but when you go through literally almost dying, you're not scared of risk anymore. You realize that a lot of the material things that we care about don't matter when you die, right? And so I had the opportunity to try this. It was far more purposeful than anything else I could have done. And now, luckily, we're helping tens of thousands of people a day, and to be able to think back to that moment, to know if I could be sitting here now, of course I'd do it a million times over.
What would you say to people that are thinking about, maybe I do go full-time into my passion project? Is there an answer?
The best way to do it is to get it to until it's sustainable, while also having a stream of income that is supporting you. However, that takes away from your time to make it as good as possible. So if you have the means to do it, you're going to operate better if you are spending all of your time thinking and working on it. Mm-hmm. So if you can get there, I think that's a dream for every entrepreneur, where they might start with it as a side project, but that day that they go full time, it's like, all right, now I have no restrictions, right? You kind of feel like, man, I did all this as a side project. I'm so confident now that I can be successful because I can spend all my time on it.
Do you think it's more important to have the funds to do it, or to have an effective product? And why do you think that is?
Yeah, having a good product makes everything easier. And if you have a bad product, you probably should work on your product before you do anything else. All of entrepreneurship and all of commerce is about transitioning value to someone else. The only reason people continue to buy Graymatter is because it gives them value. It makes a difference in their life, in their day-to-day. And that value is what comes from the time we spent on making a really good product. Mm-hmm. And so if we cut corners there and it wasn't that great, our business wouldn't be that successful today. So then it doesn't really matter, right? Unless you have that. That's step one. Again, I spent all my money making this a thing. I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for purpose and wanting to really make an impact and help people. And the beautiful thing about this product and entrepreneurship and the company in general is that if we just keep helping people, the company gets bigger, And so there's this great alignment in making sure that first and foremost, the product works, we don't cut corners, and it really helps people.
So you went all in 2024. Was it just you in 2024 going full time? What did that look like?
Yeah, I had a co-founder, Novi. He had a full-time job. So I basically did everything. Email, content, meta ads, customer service. Novi didn't go full-time until August of 2025. Yeah, it was hard doing all that, but it also helped because then I now know how to operate those channels and those things, and know how to hire to put really good people in those places because I know what to do. Mm-hmm. If you can, I would say, especially in the e-commerce business, you got to have enough understanding of every operational facet of the business yourself as the founder, because that'll just make you more successful in the future.
Mm-hmm. What does Graymatter look like now?
Yeah, we're growing super fast. We decided we wanted to raise some money to accelerate it. So I had hundreds of investor calls telling them the story that we just went through, what Graymatter is, what the vision is for it, and got 1 million no's and finally a few yeses. And we raised 1.3 million in about early July of 2025. As we were doing that, you're just growing the business, alongside of all those investor calls. So again, it felt good to finally get that over. Like, all right, we got some ammunition now. Let's go. Let's go really do this. Fast forward today, we have multiple real killers in their position working for us. Media buying, content creation, multiple agencies, awesome email, Google media buying, Meta, phenomenal customer service team, great content people, you guys.
I mean, nobody's a beast. Took a little bit to figure out, how we can get him focused on one thing. He likes doing a lot, and, if we can get his kind of superpowers into a specific area, can really make a big impact. And it has. He does most of our finance, all of our financing, modeling and analysis and payments, and works with companies we work with to help do that. Also has gone deep into AI and built, a number of different, tools for us that help us leverage what's happening in that space to kind of be more successful without having to add more people, and also kind of incredible knowledge that is AI to make us better at decision making.
What's been happening with Graymatter since you got full-time?
We've opened new channels, just launched on Amazon. We've gotten TikTok shop up and running. We've continued to scale our meta ad spend. That's the main way an e-commerce brand grows, is through digital advertising. We're offsetting that with things like our referral program, so you can be an affiliate. Starting to have a number of affiliates make some serious money in our Discord channel and through our affiliate program. So just kind of diversifying how we find new customers. And then also, just as important, making sure that we continue to make the customer experience better, so those customers stick around and we make an improvement in their life. Like I said earlier, it's all about like the transition of value. If we continue to do that and make it more and more and more, we're gonna build a better company that has more of an impact on people.
What are some of those things that our subscribers are getting? Like, what kind of value are we giving them right now?
Yes, we take their feedback all the time. One of them was on the bag not being all that great, so we made this canister, which is really cool. Makes it real easy to just, have your daily scoop. We've added more flavors. We've added a cacao flavor, which has a gram of raw Peruvian organic cacao, which has its own benefits as its own standalone ingredient, now stacked on top of everything else you're already getting in Graymatter. It also gives you a different type of flavor. The other ones are kind of fruity. This is something you can drink both warm, and cold. Kind of tastes like a chocolate milk, so that's cool. We've made it even cheaper for customers, more economical, by allowing people to have a quarterly subscription. So you get 40% off if you do that. Always adding free gifts into the customer journey. There's a cashback rewards program that you'll see in the portal. So we're always thinking of more things to do.
So what does winning look like for Graymatter?
I want supplementing your mind to be as common as brushing your teeth. I think that everyone should do it. Everyone can benefit from it. Spend all this time on our bodies. We exercise, we get the right nutrition, but we don't really think about that when it comes to our mind. Our mind is what controls all of our life. It's the most important thing about you. And if you can optimize it, which people are now starting to realize that you can, and Graymatter is one way to do that, it shows up in countless other ways in your life, right? Your relationships, your ability to be successful at whatever it is you do for work, your well-being, your confidence. It all starts with your mind. And if we can be a tool to help people realize that they can improve their lives through supplementing their mind, that's what success looks like. We're growing at a really fast rate. I still talk to some investors, and obviously the existing investors we have that kind of have this bird's eye view into the space. We're growing at about 30% month over month, and that's just super, super fast. All of our retention metrics are really good. Again, it starts with having a good product, meaning how well we retain people. The CPG space, consumer packaged goods space, is very excited about Graymatter and just cognitive health in general. They're starting to be more focused on it, like I've kind of just said, and I'm super proud to be helping lead that, change in the world and change in people's lives.
Why was it so hard to get some investors? Was it because of the space that you're in? Was it because of cognitive?
No, it was because we were too small. So they want to see more traction. So if you're trying to raise money, what makes it easy is if you prove it yourself already. So, if you just try to raise money on an idea, most people can't do that. Obviously, we were past an idea at that point, but we were still pretty small compared to where VCs typically invest. So that's why it got easier towards the middle half of last year, because our numbers just kept going bigger and bigger. And we kind of demonstrated, hey, we're doing what we're saying we're doing. And that whole time I was sending everyone on my list an email of our monthly progress, right? Telling them, this is what we're about to do, go did it. And they start to build confidence in your ability to execute, because you're literally showing them month over month, like, this is growing. The biggest win is our reviews, and our average being 4.7, 4.8 out of thousands, right? So that's really important to me. And that is one of the ways that we have a direct line into the voice of the customer. And if we just continue to get bigger and bigger, and what's crazy about this is usually when you get bigger and if more people take your product, your reviews go down. Ours are actually going up. Like that is super, super rare. I'm just happy to be able to make that impact. But that to me is the biggest win. It's always the customer, right? Customer being happy, customer having success. That is what is going to make you successful.
What are some of your favorite reviews off the top of your head? Do you have any of some?
Oh my God. I mean, I talked to I call our customers. Part of our marketing strategy is to be authentic like this. And so, you know, if you're watching this, you've probably seen ads from us. And a lot of those ads are us just having a conversation on the phone with our customer after they've left us this awesome review, just to ask them about it, have them tell their story kind of on our behalf. Anyway, I called this customer the other day and she started crying on the phone.
It feels different. There's a little more magic in the days. There's a little more sparkle. And so I just want to say thank you so much for caring.
You're gonna make me cry.
She was so grateful and relieved that, you know, that she found Graymatter and the impact that we're having on her. So that type of stuff to me is just, it's astonishing. It's sometimes hard to even like fathom, but it's amazing. It's so motivating and just makes me want to go find 1,000 more.